Welcome back, everybody. Another edition of the Triple Play for Tuesday, 4 6. I'm Meg Ruler, 31, FSI DFS coach, joined with McKinley, 412 here. Going to look at the main slate for Tuesday. It's an 8-game slate. It's going to start at 7:05. A lot of the same teams that we saw tonight, but there's one big addition to this one. We have Coors Field back in play. So, looking at the weather, looks like it's going to be pretty decent temperatures and weather again. Only a couple noteworthy things to point out. Texas, it's projected that the wind might be blowing out the left field, 18 to 20 miles per hour. They do have a roof there, so if they close that could negate it. But if the roof is open, then that could definitely help hitting. And I don't know if the Blue Jays need any help hitting, so that's definitely a place to possibly look. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. And in Coors Field, it's going to be overcast. There's about 10 to 14% chance of precipitation, so maybe a few sprinkles, but it doesn't look like a washout or anything that might delay the game at all. So let's talk about pitching. So today we had a clear-cut stud on the mound in Jacob deGrom. And unfortunately, it was the same as almost like 2018, where they score 2 runs. He goes out of the game with the lead. The bullpen gives up 5 runs, and he doesn't get the win.
Tough break.
So it's another good slate here, too, with like no crazy high-priced pitchers. We're starting to see a couple guys who have in Darvish and Kershaw, and I believe like 4 or 5 of them maybe are on their second start. So maybe they'll go like 75, 80, 85, a little bit longer this time. I think we're starting to get to where we need to be. Not that anybody was like yanked after like 2 or 3 innings unless they were doing really, really bad. So, Kinley, what do you think for pitching today? Who's some of your favorite guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's just good to have more than one ace here on a slate. 2 guys I'm going to be looking at are Giolito and Glasnow. Probably I'll take them over Kershaw and Darvish. Kershaw's been struggling. He had a terrible spring. 4 outings, 3 of them he got pretty shelled. And then, his opening day start was against Colorado in Coors. So he honestly did pretty well, but I'll look down for $200 cheaper. I'll go Giolito against the Seattle Bats there. Giolito's just been a machine this year, including spring. Yeah, 23 innings in spring, 30 Ks, a 1.17 ERA. And then his opening day, he went 5.1 innings with 8 strikeouts and 2 hits against. So he's facing the Seattle team. Yeah, and he's under 10K. So at 9.3, he's definitely my top option at pitcher. Other than that, I mean, there's just so many good options. I'm going to lean towards Glasnow at the moment. The Boston Bats did come alive today, but
I'll still take. They wouldn't.
Yeah, I'll still take Glasnow just with his K upside there against the Boston team. Like I said, I'm not interested in Kershaw. Who knows? Velocity's down. The movement of his pitches is up. But until he can prove to me that he's back to being that ace, I don't want to be paying close to 10K for him until he can prove it again. I'm assuming you're on similar plays here for cash.
Yeah, I mean, if I can find a way up to Darvish, and the nice thing is when we talk about bats, like Coors is not like super overpriced on the first, in my opinion. I mean, there's some guys that are in 4, but there's a lot of reasonable guys in the 3, and I don't think there's, we're not talking like 6K guys like we had with the Dodgers that we were trying to get in. San Francisco's doing okay. I think they're like middle of the pack. So, I think there's some potential there. Plus, usually the offense is gonna usually score runs, so the win equity is always there.
Yeah, no, I definitely like Darvish. I was very overweight on him in opening day, and he was cruising through like 4 innings. He was doing incredible. I was loving it. And then that 4th inning came, and that's when he let up the, what was it, like 4, 6, 8 earned runs against Arizona in one inning, and that's kind of when it all went downhill. But no, I like him. He's definitely going to be sprinkled in through my lineups as well. Far more than Kershaw is right there.
Yeah, and there's some. We're starting to get to some scary pitchers on this slate, and Chase Anderson and Luke Weaver, and Texas is going with an opener, and then Hearn is a long reliever. Rourke, he's had issues too. And Bassett's okay, but he's facing a good Dodger team. So, and then you got 2 guys in Coors. So, and Alzolay from Chicago. He's young, I believe. He's not really.
Yeah, it was a big deal that he made the team this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think if they don't lose like Darvish to free agency and some of the other people, like he probably wouldn't be in the discussion right now.
Yeah, no. So yeah, like you said, there's not much pitching outside of the couple of studs that are going. What I am kind of interested in, kind of in that mid range at 7-6, is Peralta for Milwaukee. He's going against Chicago. They've been striking out a lot to start off the year here, and he is a K machine. He came in for 2 innings on opening day in the 5th and 6th inning, and all 6 of his outs were strikeouts.
Wow.
So
that's efficient.
That's very efficient. And in spring, he had 23 strikeouts in 13 innings.
Whoa.
So he's got the K potential, the K upside. How long they let him go into the game, I got no clue. So who knows? He might only get 4 innings. They stretch him out a little longer, then I think he's a phenomenal play at 7-6. But right now, I'm just reserving him for GPP only, just because I don't know how long they're going to let his leash be there.
Well, what do you think about Stroman against who played the Phillies?
Against Philly, yeah. Nothing against him, but I'll find $500 somewhere else in the bats to move up to Glass now.
Yeah, I just Philly has almost a 32% K rate this season. If their bats haven't been they weren't super hot in the spring, and it's cool to start right now.
Yeah, no, nothing against him at all.
Yeah, it's a decent hitting environment there. It's better than if they were at.
It's just where the pricing is compared to the people around him. I'm going to find the $500 to get Glass now.
Yeah. You're not dropping 500 down to go to the second coming of Paxton in Seattle.
No.
He's efficient at least. I mean, he eats innings, but again, he's not going to get you the strikeout equity or like score you a ton of points. So, yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, probably the best hitting environment is going to be Coors Field. And do you like one side more than the other, or do we just like both sides, or what's your take on this?
Well, I like Colorado more. And you mentioned it earlier, the Colorado bats, not expensive at all. You got Story at 5.4, Blackman at 5.2, but everybody else is 3.7 or below. Yeah. They're going up against Luke Weaver, who, oh man, you paid attention to spring. He showed up on the mound, and it was just everybody rushed to the outfield because there's going to be home runs hit. Yeah, let's see.
It was the first shift I ever saw where all the infielders ran and stood against the wall.
14 innings, and he allowed 8 home runs. He allowed close to 2 home runs per 9 last year as well. He's just terrible. So I'm going to be targeting those Colorado bats. They're going to be hitting them hard, and they're going to be taking them deep probably. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to be having Blackman, Story as well. Hampson, he's been a fan favorite of this channel here so far to start the season.
But will he be that high up in the order against a righty though?
They had him projected at 2. They had him at the 2 spot against a righty last time out, so it's possible. But yeah, Tapia, Hampson, Story, Blackman, Cron. I know righty not so great, but I'm definitely higher on the Colorado bats. And like I said, they're fairly cheap here, so you can jam in those studs like Glass now and Giolito and just be fine. What about you? Do you prefer Colorado or Arizona here?
Um, I think Colorado's at home, and it's definitely against a pitcher that's has a good potential to give up some runs there. But I know that there's a little bit of good history with some of the Arizona bats against Marquez. He's a decent pitcher, and we like him outside of Coors, but
Yeah.
just in Coors, it's just kind of hard sometimes. But I know Escobar, Peralta, Walker all have decent BVP against him if that's something that you look at. But I just look at this lineup, and Rojas leading off, potentially lefty, Marty switch hitter, Walker there. He's got good history. Peralta left-handed, Cabrera at times when he was in Washington and he was on the Mets a couple of years before that. Like I remember I used to love playing him against right-hand pitching. And then Escobar 6, even Voit, a catcher there comes up with potentially.
Yeah, they have a near all lefty lineup, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Kind of like Texas.
Voigt's only 32. I mean, which isn't bad for catcher. Sometimes you prefer him to be closer to 2 if you're punting, but like for catcher and Coors that has the right-handedness and a little bit of power, like I like that.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be highly owned just because of the Coors factor there. What's their pricing here for the hitters? 4.6. They're actually priced up higher than Colorado is here.
Yeah, some of the top guys are, but
4.6, 4.5, 4.2, 4. So it's interesting. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to go wrong with Coors and bats. There never is.
Let's see. If we take your Glasnow and your Giolito, that leaves us 4K per batter. So, good. And if we go with, let's see here. If we throw in Arizona, Colorado, Void a catcher, that gives you a 4-1. So, find a couple other value plays there. You can get a lot from this game. So,
yeah, absolutely. Outside of Coors, though, I'm looking at the Mets. Was looking at them. I know, but hey, ownership's going to be down.
It was the first game too, so we'll definitely. In game theory wise, yes. If fooled me once, shame on. Maybe they're like, okay, got burned.
No, I'm looking at the Mets again here. Brandon Nimmo, Michael Conforto. I'm really looking for those lefty bats. Chase Anderson giving up 330 ISO against lefties in the past 2 seasons.
But he's a reverse split guy, so he gives up stuff against the righties too.
Okay. He gives up against righties as well here. 290 ISO against righties. So people are going to be hitting him hard. Like I said, the ownership's going to be down on them. I'm surprised they didn't.
There's probably a reason why he's the cheapest pitcher on DK at 62.
Yeah. So I'm going to be looking at those Mets bats, and they're fairly cheap. They fall in right under 4K. Nemo 3.8, Conforto 3.7. So you can definitely fit them in. Lindor 5K, pricey, but man, he was tearing up spring. He had a rough start to it, but he had the hottest bat in the league for about like a 2-week stretch there. It was incredible what he was doing.
Nemo was getting on in front of him, and Alonso was hitting great from the fourth. It was all working. Now Smith was ice cold, but he's hit a couple of homers towards the end. So, but if these guys hit their stride, I mean, this could be scary.
It's a solid lineup. Lineup, sure. The addition of
I mean, they're a tier. They're definitely a couple tiers below like Dodgers, Yankees, Padres, but they have the potential to. And we're not talking like the potential we've been talking about with the Baltimore Orioles or like the Seattle Mariners or like all these teams for years that one day these young people are going to put together. Now, Kansas City did.
Yeah.
And won a World Series. And Houston did too, because we used to make fun of Houston for years until like around
Springer, Altuve, all them came in, and then they cheat. But we'll talk about that. But the Mets, and then also San Diego for me as well. Who are you looking for with the bats outside of Coors?
I'm really intrigued with this Texas-Toronto game. Again, Toronto's got a really good lineup. Not too many lefties there, but I really think Biggio and Tellis, if he's in there, um, well, if they still have Springer out injured, it seems that some of these other guys have moved up a little bit in the order and are getting, like Simeon's been doing well leading off. So they intrigue me there too. And Rourke doesn't impress me at all. And there's this stretch of Dahl, Gallo, Nate Lau or Low or Lowe's or
Yeah.
however, right there, Guzman, Holt, like for cheap switch hitting catcher. Letty Taveras has some speed batting at the bottom if you want to do a wraparound, and there's some cheap options here too.
Yeah, absolutely. I laugh because Tanner Roark against righties the past 2 seasons has a 390 ISO against, which is just like, I wish there were more. This is where I wish Joey Gallo was a righty. But against lefties, it's 320. So, I mean, there's definitely a possibility for Texas to hit 3 or more home runs tomorrow. And yeah, I love that. I love that. I just wish there were a little bit more righties, but I can see it.
Yeah. And Brock Holt, at 2,500, he's somebody that he can gamble, and there's just like certain players, Pinder, that you just kind of just pop in your lineup, gives you salary relief, and usually not going to get the bagel, but has the potential to have a little bit of pop, but usually get you a couple points at least. So, and open up for so much more. Let's see what else we got out here. San Diego, probably again. San Francisco.
Yeah. Oakland for GPP. I'm going to be targeting Kershaw.
Yeah, until he shows us something, it's worth it.
Maybe it's just me here, but maybe I'm investing too much into spring training. But spring training, looking at those numbers, they've correlated pretty well to how starting pitchers had their first opening start and how well they perform. So I'm going to stick with it. Clayton Kershaw's going to lit up this year. So give me those Oakland bats. A lot of righties: Conha, Laureano, Chapman, Murphy, Lowry, Piscotty, Andrews, all the way down. Just righty. So they're going to be a GPP target for me for sure.
I think Tampa's righties could be a little bit sneaky also.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Tilted me so much today. You had Susogo and Meadows going 1 for 10 in just smash spots. Susogo at first was like 68% owned in my double ups, and Meadows was like 48%, and they go 1 for 10. Gotta love baseball.
I know, but Toshogo has to really put it on, because as soon as Choi comes off the injured list, it's gonna be a fight for playing time. They'll probably platoon him and put one against the lefty and one against the righty, but as Choi is a lefty, we'll see. I don't know. I just got a feeling on them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the breakout day for Tampa Bay. Just like it was the breakout day for Boston today. Tomorrow, Tampa.
There you go.
It's Tampa's turn.
Load them up. You just got to get them when everybody else falls off.
Yeah.
And says, I'm sick of them. I mean, if you played Boston today, you're doing really well. They were chalk opening day. Obviously, they got postponed, but like everybody was going to be playing them. And then happened the second day, they were chalk again. Then they're chalk, and they kept on hitting or kept on missing. If you stayed with them on the fourth day, you'd be making all your money back.
Yeah. And it's just hard. You feel like you keep on playing these players because you feel they owe you money because of all the money you lost, and then the first day you come off on is the day that they go off. So,
yeah.
I think that kind of wraps things up, and just checks out at fsidsf.com. If you want to join our Discord and get our premium package, we'll get our cores and all the other information. And appreciate you watching these videos, and we've got tons of other free content on YouTube. So check out our channel, subscribe so you get the notifications when we drop new videos for you. And just give us a like and share some comments. What do you like about this show? What, is there anything you don't like? Is there other information that we can try to get to you? We want to keep it simple and not go talk about like too many high level statistics and things like that. Just kind of give you a chance to see, the night before what plays kind of pop in our heads before, we have to do this before we have the luxury of actually like seeing the lineups, and always check, because we could talk about people and people could get scratched, and it's not as bad as NBA, but even tonight, like Yastrzemski got scratched like right before the Giants game. So if you're a DFS player, it's hard to set it and forget it unless it's like a slate that starts and like all the games are like at the same time. If you're playing but the slate has multiple lock times, and you just got to keep checking in, make sure nothing changes. So, and that's the other value of being in our Discord is when we see things like that, we'll alert you and let you know, and let you know who's placing them, and if they're a good pivot, or sometimes it's good leverage. We had a guy tonight say that loves playing players that were put in the lineup after somebody got scratched, because nobody's going to play them, and if they go off, we have such low ownership that it's giant leverage. So, any things final to add, McKinley?
Nope. I think you covered it all there.
Okay. Well, good luck to everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another breakdown. Peace.